Hey everyone, Cheap Air Gunner here, Cherokee Steve. This particular review, I'm going to be doing one of my favorite PCPs. For whatever reason, I've been thinking about it, and it's one of the ones I shoot the least, and yet just everything about it makes it one of my favorite PCPs. But it's the Evanix, or Evanix, however it's pronounced, Evanix Rainstorm 2 in 357. It is the first big bore PCP that I bought, and it really is a beautiful gun. It is very well priced for what it is as well. So let's get into it. That was a quick look at the gun. I did want to mention, though, that as you noticed, it has a really nice wood stock. It is the only air rifle that I own that has a wooden stock. Any kind, pistol, rifle, whatever. Everything else that I have is plastic, or what's referred to sometimes as a synthetic stock. This is the one that I have that is wood. It is it's made of what's called a Sapiesia stock. I believe that refers more to the staining that's involved. It's actually an Indonesian walnut stock. It makes for a very light gun, PCP-wise, compared, at least in my personal experience, compared to the Hatsans that I have. It is much lighter than those particular guns. I really, consider that to be a benefit. Obviously, if you're going to be out hunting and logging around a rifle with you, even with a strap, the lighter the better, obviously. But the Sapiesia is a nice dark stain. It's not so dark that it obstructs any of the wood grain coming through. That is still very prevalent in the look of the gun. It has a nice checkering on the foregrip and the pistol grip. The shape of the stock is, for me anyway, it's just perfect. Got a nice sharp incline to the foregrip underneath. Positioning of your hand, you have multiple positions. The checkering covers the vast majority of the length of the forestock. So hand positioning is, whatever you feel comfortable with. Out front, more towards the front of the forestock, back towards the trigger guard. Pistol grip is nice, and it's just well formed. Nice and narrow. I like it that way. Unfortunately, and fortunately, the cheek rest is non-adjustable. You may consider that to be a negative, and I would understand why. In this particular case, this gun, perhaps I just lucked out, the cheek rest is just perfect for me. It's got a much sharper, higher form to it than I've seen on other PCP air rifles, but it really works well with how high my scope is mounted on the gun. It really makes for a nice eye line and relief. We'll get into that as well. I've got some notes that I've taken to go over the pros and cons of this gun. One of the pros I personally would definitely consider to be a positive is the stock itself. It's just beautiful. Not only is it beautiful, it's lightweight, and as far as the way that it fits me extremely well. Now the butt pad is adjustable, vertically only, up and down, and I have it the way that it came out of the box. That's another thing about this rifle. I have done absolutely no modifications to it. other than cleaning the barrel. It is completely, performance-wise, it is stock. Uh, I tend to think maybe that's one of the reasons I shoot it the least. I like to reinforce myself on the rifles that I do have, that I've modified, that I've increased velocity on quite a bit. You know, I like to go back and remind myself by shooting those particular guns that, wow, this gun didn't do this out of the box, and it's because of personal modifications that I've made that it shoots so much more powerfully. And I tend to gravitate to those guns, where this one, I didn't need to do anything out of the box. I mean, we're talking about a few feet per second higher than the modified Hatsan Carnivore that I have. It was perfect, velocity-wise, power-wise, what I needed. It mainly was bought for, obviously, hunting, being a 357. And believe me, as far as possibly even large-size game, it's not going to have any issue taking down your large raccoon or even a coyote. But I love the stain on it. I love that the wood grain still comes through. The top finish on it is a matte. It's not gloss, which I also like. It also has a very smooth touch to it. It's not sticky in any way. That is a preference of mine, so I consider that also to be a pro. It has an adjustable trigger, 2 stages. It comes out of the box at about between 2 and 3 pound trigger pull. I mean, that is awesome. It's perfect for me. Some people like to get it even lighter. You can with the adjustments. Again, I didn't make any adjustments out of the box. It was, I believe it's closer to the 2 pound trigger pull than the 3 out of the box on the particular rifle I bought, and that is just perfect for me. What else? It has 3,000 psi fill. That's actually just a hair over 2 bar. But the one thing that's nice about that, if you're the type of person that's just getting into PCP shooting and you've got the money for the rifle and you don't have the money for a tank or a compressor or both, this is definitely fillable with a hand pump. It's going to take some effort. It takes me some effort anyway, but it is still a nice fillable with a hand pump air gun. Not just a tad over 2 bar, and that's about the limit I would put for myself as far as being able to fill. Still is going to take, for me, a couple of stops and rest periods to get it up to its full potential, full fill. Again, as I've mentioned, it's lightweight but has plenty of power. The other thing is the barrel is shrouded, but it doesn't, I mean, it's a loud gun. How much it reduces the report, if it were unshrouded, I don't know. I haven't taken the shroud off to try to shoot it that way. The air tube and the shroud seem to have the same type of coating to it. It's very durable. It is got somewhat of a I don't know how to describe it. It is smooth, but it has more of a grainy feel to it. It looks good, and as I said, it's extremely durable, which is the main thing that I would be concerned about. Now, some of the cons of this gun. It has, as I said, the non-adjustable cheek rest. If the fit of the stock cheek rest is good for you, that's great. If it's not, you're stuck with something that just doesn't seem to be able to get to your personal liking. Would be nice to see something like that on the gun. It does not come with any open sights. You have to scope this rifle. Um, it's got the Picatinny groove on top of the receiver. I have a SWAT UTG 4x16 scope on it. Again, my personal preference, I love the UTG scopes. This one seems to sit, I want to say the mounts I have are medium height, I would say. It seems to be a really good combination with the cheek rest. And but be prepared, if you do want to invest in this particular rifle, you are going to have to put a scope on it. There are no open sights, and personally I would consider that a con. If I have open sights on a rifle, even if I'm going to scope it, I try to sight them in and keep them on and keep them usable. Try to pick out mounts that are open on the bottom so that I can still use open sights. If anything goes wrong with my scope, if it starts to leak, condensation, it starts to fog up, I can either take it off, or as I said, with the correct mounts, leave it on and still use the open sights while I'm out hunting. This particular one, you're going to have to take those types of things into consideration, because you just cannot shoot it out of the box very accurately, obviously, without open sights. It has a non-removable air cylinder. Non-removable as far as, you would need to break down the gun to take off the air cylinder. It's not one of those screw-on, screw-off types like Hudson has, where one of the benefits of that is you can just carry an extra cylinder with you. Screw it off, stick that one in your backpack, take the one you have filled up, take that out, and reattach it. That is not an option with this. It still is pretty decent. It's about, I want to say 14 usable shots with a full fill. And that's in 357, so that's a good amount of shots. Probably if you're out hunting, you're not obviously going to need 14 shots, or definitely more than 14 shots, but it is something to consider, because one of the other things that is nice, I should have included this in the pros, with this particular gun, it is available in multiple calibers. It is available in 177, it's available in 22, 25 caliber, 30 caliber, and 357 caliber. So you really have to do your searching out there to find out who's got this particular rifle. It's been around for many years. Good platform, proven platform. It's manufactured in South Korea. I didn't mention that, but still, it is just a beautiful gun. It's one of the more conservative looking Evanix rifles. They're known for their futuristic, I want to say, type looks to some of their guns, and this is one of the more traditional looking rifles that they have, and yet it's still just a beautiful rifle. The manometer itself, located underneath I would consider that to be the particular location I would consider to be a positive, especially compared to the Hatsans, which one of the drawbacks to having that removable air cylinder is the manometer is part of the air cylinder and it's located at the end. So you're looking literally when you're going to check your fill pressure on your Hatsan cylinder, you're looking with some part of your head in line with the barrel. Now that just doesn't seem to be safe engineering. This particular one, it's back and it's underneath the gun, as I just showed. One of the things I don't like about the Evanix manometer, at least this one, and I've had this for quite a few years, and I don't know if this has changed, but it's not color-coded in any way. It's simply marked in half bar increments. Um, it doesn't really, doesn't clearly show you where through color coding where your overfill zone is going to be, or your underfilled zone is going to be. So it's something you've got to keep an eye on and just know through usable shots, putting shots over the crony and figuring out this is where the velocity really drops to where I can't use it, and then just kind of remember that that's where it's going to be on the manometer. One of the other things that I definitely would consider to be a negative about the gun is out of the box, it doesn't come with any kind of sling mounts. It's a wood stock. It definitely could have. It's something that you would have to add yourself. You'll have to, be comfortable enough to drill into your wood stock and add some sling mounts if that's the way you're going to go. The other thing is any accessories other than the top rail, which of course without open sights you're going to be using for a scope. It doesn't have any other rails for accessories. Now this particular gun, my particular gun, I do have a bipod mounted, but that's because I added a Picatinny rail underneath. Over here on the side, where I've also added another Picatinny rail, I have a flashlight and a green laser mounted. Now, I had to mount those myself. It does give you, in that particular case, the option of mounting what you need and where you need it. It's, it would be nice, I believe, if the gun had some type of mounts on it for accessories and a bipod, but it doesn't. Now the sling I went with is one of those, it's not the Gammo sling, and I can't exactly remember what make of sling this is, but it is one of those wraparound ones. It has a Velcro wrap here on the front part of the sling mount, and a really nice Velcro but wraps around the back, as well as the width of the buttstock. It's somewhat narrow. It doesn't have any padding to it, but it does the job. I do like it. So that is an option. If you're not comfortable about drilling and mounting your own sling mounts, the type of sling that just wraps around and straps on is something you can go with. It's something I went with. I do like the price of this gun. I was just looking online and saw that it runs, or where I saw it, it runs around $680. Now, for this particular rifle, again, relatively speaking and comparatively speaking to the Hatsan Carnivore, out of the box, this is a far superior rifle. The side lever action on this rifle is just unbelievably smooth. It is just a joy to shoot. It cycles extremely easily as long as you're using the right ammunition. Now I'm going to get into that because we'll get into the actual loading and shooting of the gun at this particular point. But the magazine that it comes with is one of these closed types, which many PCP rifles have. It has two holes in the back. You load through the one that's higher up here versus that one. Turn it counterclockwise, and you keep loading it pellet by pellet. Now, this particular rifle, that's what I tend to use. I've only shot pellets through it. The JSB and the Hatsan Vortex. I don't have the JSBs out of my storage container, but I do have the Hatsan Vortex. They fit nicely. They don't move around inside the magazine. That's a problem I've had. I've got some H&N Grizzly. Those are more, slug-like than pellet. They don't really have a skirt. They tend to fit more loosely than the pellets, and they move around and they tend to jam this up. So you got to be careful with the ammunition that you use, but it's, again, it loads, just drops in to the higher hole. You've got to seat it with some type of probe. Here I've got a piece of a wooden Q-tip handle. It pops in a little bit farther, rotate it counterclockwise, the next position is ready to load. Drop it in, push it in till it seats, and you'll feel it snap into place, and you can visually see that it's down below the level of this back plastic part of the magazine. And you just continue. I apologize for not knowing the actual, I believe it's 9 shots that this is capable of holding in 357. And actually, after it's completely loaded, it stops rotating. Now this particular magazine, comparatively speaking, once again, to say the Hatsan ones that are open, they're not closed off. I prefer those. They're easier to load. You can get away with a wider range of length of ammunition. Anything that is not going to fit into this and fit into it snugly and properly lengthwise is not going to work. Because you have to mount a scope, you've got that up here. You do have, if you've got small fingers, which I don't have, I'm guessing, or you might be able to use it as a single shot, but that would be very difficult, in my opinion, impossible for me, given the pudgy fingers that I have. There's no way I'm going to be loading up a pellet in there one by one. That if that is possible, you may be able to get away with using a wider range of ammunition, but I'd pretty much stick to the JSB or the Hatsan 357 pellets. They're both extremely accurate. So now that we've gone over the loading, let's go over the insertion of the magazine and the shooting aspect of the gun. It's been filled. I checked the manometer previously. It's up to 200 bar, so just under the 3,000 psi fill. But my tank is regulated to 2,900, so that's fine with me. Again, it's a non-regulated gun. Your drop-off is pretty much going to be straight down, most powerful shot being your first shot, and tapering down shot by shot. But to load the magazine, pull the side lever back. Insert the magazine. Sorry about that. It's much easier to load from the left side. Close up the side lever. It has a manual safety. It's not an automatic safety. That's usually the preference among most air gunners, is to have the manual safety. It has a forward and rearward position. It's located on the right side of the receiver, all the way towards the back. At this particular point, it's just a matter of aiming and firing. Re-put on the safety, pull the side lever back. It is so smooth. It is so smooth. There is, I just can't get over how smooth this is. Put the safety on, take it back off, aim, and fire. There's a definite ping to it. There's probably some hammer bounce there. I'm okay with it. It doesn't add to the volume of the firing, of the whole firing procedure. It is a loud air gun. This would not be backyard friendly. Down here in my basement, it's okay. But again, the Evanix Rainstorm 2 in 357, and it's available in almost every other caliber, for the most part, that you can get downward from that point. 357, 300, 25, 22, and 177. Great price. Just under $700. It's just a beautiful gun. It shoots extremely well, straight out of the box. You do not have to do anything to this gun. I would highly recommend it, especially if you're just getting into PCPs. This is a joy to shoot, and the fact that, other than sling mounts, if you want them, or accessory mounts, if you want them, out of the box, it's ready to go. You want to add some Picatinny rails for a flashlight or something like that, definitely, or lots of people like bipods. That's something you're going to have to add yourself. Take your time, be careful drilling everything out, follow the instructions on whatever accessory rail you get, and you're even that much more ready to go. But that certainly was a preference of mine. But I highly recommend this gun. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Nice, smooth stock. Beautiful trigger pull. And extremely powerful. So that's today's review. Evanix Rainstorm 2 in 357. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe. And hopefully I can figure out a way to get less time in between reviews here. Thanks for checking this out. I really appreciate everyone who comes by and checks out the videos. Hey, you guys have a great day. Shoot safe.